Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. I hope that everybody is having a lovely weekend so far. Students, in this class we are looking at IELTS speaking part 2. The cue card, the long part where you need to speak for 1 to 2 minutes uninterrupted for the examiner. And in this case, our topic that we're going to focus on is a personal item. Part 2 will be basically, in most cases, either requesting or requiring you to talk about a person, a place, an object, an idea, or an event. In this case today, we're going to be practicing talking about an object. Of course, each of these 5 categories has a specific structure, a specific way to speak so that you can get some high band scores. And I'm going to give you the strategy for talking about an object today. And to learn all of the strategies and effective ways to talk about people, events, places, make sure to visit our premium IELTS course at aehelp.com for academic IELTS and gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. Those are the websites that we use to power these live classes and make your learning so much more effective. Welcome, Fuang. Hi, Silviana. Hi, Yanni. Alexi, hello to you too. And Domenico, Romelia, Joao. Nice to see so many of you in the class and ready to learn. That is fantastic. Students, of course, many of our members already have access to our premium IELTS. This is aehelp.com here with the blue background, and you can click this big red button that's just right above my head there to join the premium IELTS package. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. We believe that you should just have to pay once for a course like this and then use it as much as you like and as much as you need to get a better band score. We're an IELTS IDP affiliate. We're a British Council partner, an IELTS Test Registration Center. I'm a certified British Council agent, and I have been teaching IELTS to students around the world for close to 20 years. For general IELTS, it's gieltshelp.com. It's the green background, and it's this big red button here. Click on that. We will use these websites today in the lesson to talk to our students through the student chat interface. You can use the websites to find speaking partners as well. When you click that Join Now button, you'll see the checkout form, and you can use the code OVER7 for a 10% discount. So click that. Check the price in your country. In different countries, there's some different prices depending on your local currency and economy. Again, you just pay once and then you're good to go. You also get apps with your account. For those of you who want to download the apps, it's a good idea. Go to your app store, find Academic IELTS Help or General IELTS Help. Students, if you're an academic student, make sure that you are focusing on academic IELTS primarily. And if you're general IELTS students, focus on general IELTS primarily. The reading and the writing sections are quite a bit different in these two versions of the test. So don't mix them up, at least not at the start. Okay, that's my suggestion. Instagram, IELTS_AE-help, GIELTS help. Instagram, we post some good reels for you to learn vocabulary, practice some speaking, some English. So check that out. It's all free. And you can get our weekly live class schedules through Instagram as well. And also, of course, here on YouTube, check the community posts for live schedules. I will be putting up next week's live IELTS class schedule in a few hours later today. For me, it's still very early. It's 5:30 in the morning. It's pre-sunrise. It's still nighttime here. All right. We are the last to see the sun rise in the West here, as they say. Okay, so if you have questions, send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com. Yes, Alexi, the correct expression is early bird. Early bird. We say the early bird catches the worm. It's night owl. A person who stays up late at night is a night owl, and a person who wakes up early is an early bird. Yeah. admin@aehelp.com is another email that you can use. And hey, if you like paper books that you can put on your shelf, you can get our exam books from Amazon. The Amazon search query is AEHelp's Academic IELTS and GHelp's General IELTS. You'll see 2 books for each of those, containing 3 exams each. Yeah, Romelia, you can also say early riser. Absolutely. Yeah, early riser. All right. So streaming schedule, February 25th to March 4th. We've got speaking part 2, speaking part 3 right now. We've got part 2 first, and then in about 2 hours we'll do a speaking part 3. Part 3 speaking and the IELTS speaking interview is connected to part 2. So the interview is 15 minutes long, and part 2 and part 3 take about 10 minutes of the interview. Depends on your examiner. Could be a little bit less, could be like 8 minutes. But they're the kind of the majority or the main part of the speaking. As usual, February 26th to March 1st, we've got no class. That's Sunday to Wednesday. And then I'm back on Thursday with speaking part 1. I'm thinking about maybe doing a Discord class on the following Sunday, on the 5th, but I'll have to check and make sure it fits into my schedule. So I will update you on that and let you know. All right, as I said, we will be posting this schedule on our YouTube community post as well. So make sure to subscribe, everyone, and get some notifications of when these live classes are happening. All right. I see the encouragement from Alexi there. Alexi says, that would be wonderful. I'll do my best, Alexi. I'll do my best. No promises, but I'll do my best. Okay, so YouTube videos, we release them all the time. HD practice videos, check this one out. We've got a really cool reading one coming up for you in a couple of days. But until then, check out this video. This is a speaking one that we released, and it's also a good one. So check that out. Okay, IELTS speaking part 2. So as I mentioned, we are talking about an object here. So what happens, of course, for many of you, you know this, you're practicing. IELTS speaking, you definitely want to practice before you go to your IELTS exam. Even if you have pretty good English skills, you need to practice IELTS, and you need to practice the speaking before you go and sit the test. A lot of students, I've met a lot of students who, have good English, and then they think, well, it's just an English test. I've done English tests before. I'll just go and wing it. I will wing the IELTS exam. Maybe you've heard this expression before. I will go and wing. When you wing something, wing the IELTS exam. To do something, to wing something, means that you basically just go and do it without any preparation. So you just kind of spontaneously and then Andrew says, and then the IELTS wings you. Yes, unfortunately, Andrew, that tends to happen to people. They get shocked. They're like, what? So IELTS is, it's important to understand that the band score scale that IELTS works on, so 0 meaning the person did not show up, and then band 9. I think a lot of people don't really understand what band 9 is. Band 7 is kind of like native speaker, and band 9 is basically you're an expert communicator. So you've got really good communication skills along with really good English skills. That takes practice. So you have to understand some strategies, and you have to practice those strategies to really get into those higher band scores. Okay. So you don't really want to go and just wing the IELTS exam. Even when you have good English, it's worth doing a few practice exams. It's worth learning a little bit about the structure, the strategies before you go and sit the test. Welcome, Sarah, our chat moderator, and welcome, Rakesh, to our group of members. Nice to see 2 people jumping in just in the nick of time. All right, and so speaking part 2, the reason I say this is because speaking part 2 is a bit unique. So when you go to your IELTS exam, speaking part 1, that's okay for the most part, because you really, you introduce yourself and you talk about a familiar topic, usually like a hobby or a sport or music. But even part 1 can surprise you. Like I had to talk about math when I did my official exam. So you want to practice every part, but especially part 2, because in part 2 what happens is the examiner gives you a set of questions like this here, and then they say, okay, you have 1 minute to read these, think about your answer, take notes in that time if you wish, and then you have 1 to 2 minutes to speak. And this is not really something that we do on a daily basis, so it's not a type of communication that most of us have experience with, where it's like, okay, talk about your favorite toy when you were a child, and you have 1 minute to prepare and 1 to 2 minutes to speak. And it's like, well, what's my favorite toy, right? Could have been a while back, and maybe you never even had a favorite, so you have to be creative a lot of times. Okay, so your step 1, all right, so let's get into it. Let's talk about what you need to do. So your step 1 is to read the question carefully, and I highly recommend reading the questions twice, especially if you have good reading skills and it doesn't take you long. Read it twice, especially pay attention to this first statement. It's really important that you stay on topic and that you directly respond to this topic right away when they start your time, okay? So talk about an item you often have with you when you leave home. Okay? All right, so again, read that one twice. Talk about an item you often have with you when you leave home. And then the remaining questions, what is it? When and where did you get it? What do you use it for? Why do you take it with you? And how do you feel when you leave it at home? There's often this kind of double question here at the as the last question. So pay attention. Sometimes that last question has 2 questions, sometimes even 3 questions in it. So why do you take it with you? That's one question. And how do you feel when you leave it at home? That's another question, right? So it's like 2 more questions there. Okay. All right. So, and then the examiners, so basically the way that it works is the examiner will read this topic sentence and then they'll start your preparation time. So they'll say, talk about an item you often have with you when you leave home. Your 1 minute preparation time begins now. And then you've got 60 seconds. And that 60 seconds is very important. I've said this time and again, that 60 seconds is arguably, even though you're not talking in that 60 seconds, ironically, it's the most important 60 seconds of your speaking interview, because it has the greatest impact on your overall score. So the topic that you decide, the notes that you take, the ideas that you think of have such an impact on your part 2, part 3 answers that it really does decide whether you're getting your best score or your worst score, okay? So here we're talking about an object. Members, can you remind me, when you talk about an object, what kind of information should you include? And of course, we want to identify the tense. So, sometimes teachers online say, oh, talk past, present, future. I got this object in a supermarket. I have it with me right now, and I will be taking it with me every single time I leave my house. And so past, present, future. And that's okay. Sometimes that works, but not always. So be careful. Okay. All right. So the tense that we're going to use is going to be past, present, for the most part, present perfect. Okay. No need to worry too much there. All right. And when we're talking about an object, we want to talk about its appearance. Yeah, what does it look like? Absolutely. So it's a physical object, right? So help the examiner, your listener, to see that object, to visualize that object. So if it's a keychain, let's say it's a keychain. Let's say your keychain's got a cute little heart on it, okay? And you've got 3 keys on it. All right. Those are some terrible looking keys, but anyway, you've got 3 keys on it. Okay, describe those. Maybe one of them is a tiny little key for your bike lock. All right, so describe what it looks like. Help the examiner see the object. Okay, so that's the appearance. And then the origin, right? The question even asks for it. So where did you get it, right? When and where did you get it? That's the origin. Okay, yeah, so when we talk about an object, it's good to mention where it comes from. And these points are basically effective for whatever object you're talking about, whether it's a birthday present or an object that you take with you. It's origin, right? Okay. Yanni says the purpose. Before the purpose, Yanni, you can also say the function. So how is it used? Okay. And so oftentimes, especially if you're talking about a digital device, you want to explain how to use it, right? So its function and then its purpose, right? And then you can talk about its value, so its importance for you. Okay, as long as you include these 5 points with some details, you're going to be on the right track. And then, of course, make sure that you don't forget the questions on the card. Okay, it's very important. You have to answer all the questions on the card. How do you feel when you leave it at home, right? Why do you take it with you as kind of the purpose? And don't forget to answer, how do you feel when you leave it at home? Okay, good. All right, let's keep rolling. So keep this in mind. Object, talk about the appearance, the origin, function, purpose, value, basically in that order. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and pay attention to the card, okay? In this case, we can tell that you're basically talking mostly about the past and the present. You can talk about the future a bit, but most of this question focuses on the present. You're talking about this object in a general sense, like this object is important for me because I have da 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 da. So you're talking about it in the general sense, okay? And then the next step. So I've read the question. I've realized what I need to include in my response. When you practice these steps, this is very, very quick. This only takes seconds to recall and identify. And then where you want to spend a little bit more time is in this next step here, okay? Which is think about 2 to 3 objects that fit this criteria, okay, that you take with you. That's important. Now here's where you want to remember that when you think about your 2 to 3 ideas, think unique. So try to think of an idea that maybe not everybody's talking about. Think easy, okay, to talk about. All right, and lots of content. So you can talk about it for, 90 seconds to 2 minutes. So here, if you get this question, here's an interesting way to approach this. I haven't actually done this before. But what would be, for example, what would be an object that is not good to talk about for this 1 to 2 minutes? So what do you think I would criticizes an object that I don't recommend a student to talk about, where I would say don't talk about that. It's probably not the best. Yeah, exactly, Romelia. So mobile phone, yeah, exactly. So cell phone, mobile phone, it's too common. You don't want to be the 15th candidate that day to talk about, oh, I always take my phone with me. I have an Android phone and it's always with me. Okay, too common. You will be competing with other candidates, and it will not seem interesting or unique for the examiner. The vocabulary will be redundant. Okay, so yeah, very good. So you're starting to figure it out. Okay, so yeah, your phone, probably not the best to talk about. Even if you're using some good vocabulary, it might not really seem like advanced vocabulary by that time, because the examiner has heard that vocabulary so often in the day that they're just not recognizing it as high level vocabulary or interesting vocabulary. So probably not a mobile phone. Domenico, wallet could be okay. Wallets can be quite unique. Keychain could be okay if it's unique, if there are unique features to your keychain. Okay, all right. For example, if I talk about a keychain, what could make a keychain unique? So you don't want to talk about just a simple average old keychain, right? But something that makes it unique. So what can make a keychain unique? For example, right? So you want to be specific. That's another important concept here. Lexi says the material, the shape, maybe, or maybe you have a keychain with a multi-purpose tool. I don't have it anymore, but I had a really cool little keychain for a long time that had a little multi-purpose Swiss Army knife on it, like a little tiny one, and that was super useful. It had a small pair of scissors, a little tiny knife, and little tweezers, and I use that a lot. Okay, right? So yeah, or Alexi, exactly. It could have some kind of an important charm on it that has some meaning for you, that reminds you of a special person or a special time in your life. Exactly. All right. Okay, so give me some ideas then. So what could be an item that you take with you when you leave home that could be a bit more unique, fairly easy to talk about, lots of content? Okay. Andrew says these chains are super popular here. Yeah, okay. Romelia says could be a necklace. Sure. I agree, Romelia. You might have a necklace, maybe even with a locket. Okay. Anybody knows what a necklace with a locket is? A locket is one of those, like, let's say like a little heart-shaped pendant that you can open up, and then you have pictures of people that you love inside of the locket, right? So if you have children, or if you have a boyfriend, girlfriend, and you have this love locket, that could be good. Okay, good, yeah. So think details, right? Think about how you can expand and talk more, right? Okay, AirPods. Sure. So wireless headset. Yeah, that could be a good one. Okay, absolutely. To help you to comfortably communicate to family and friends on the go while you're driving. It's safer, right? Also, it's better sound, and especially if you live in a noisy city. Okay. Domenico says a crossbody bag. Yeah, sure. Yeah, those are pretty popular in a lot of places. I agree. They're also called, another funny way to call them here is fanny pack. I think it's two words like that. It's a fanny pack. Fanny pack is the one that kind of goes around your waist. It's a very touristy little bag to keep your belongings safe. A smartwatch, yeah, smartwatch for sure. So if you really want to talk about a digital device, then if you have one, I've got one here, then a smartwatch that can track your steps, your health. You can get notifications on it. So maybe a little bit better than just talking about a phone. Silviana says a Kindle e-reader. Yeah, that could be a really good one as well. If especially, well, I mean, I highly recommend that if you are learning and studying English, especially. So an e-reader. Alexi says perfume. Yes. If you like to smell nice and you're a bachelor or a bachelorette and maybe looking for that special someone in your life, then you might take some perfume. Or Silviana says lipstick, some makeup. So certainly there are lots and lots of different objects that a person might take with themselves regularly. Lamia says to carry a bottle of water. I think a long time ago when we covered this topic once, we did a bottle of water, or one of our videos on YouTube has that. So lots there. Okay. Romelia says a credit card, so reassuring. Yes, you can pay with a credit card in more places today than with cash. So Visa card accepted more places than any other credit card, right? Let's be specific, Romelia. So Visa card. Sure. Okay. So now students, warning, okay? Do not overdo it. Okay, so once you've thought about 3 ideas and you think, okay, there's some good ones here, don't keep thinking about more ideas, okay? If some more come to mind, that's fine, but once you have 3 ideas, stop and pick one, okay? All right, don't get stuck there. Leave time for your notes, okay? So let's choose one here. Okay, let me get your input on it this time. So I think the last couple of times I just chose, I was a dictator. I didn't give you a chance for democracy, but let's practice some democracy here this time. So keychain with multi-purpose tool like a Swiss Army knife, number 1. Necklace with a locket, number 2. AirPods or wireless headset, number 3. Crossbody bag, a fanny pack, number 4. Smartwatch, number 5. An e-reader, number 6. Perfume, number 7. Makeup, number 8. A bottle of water, number 9. Or a Visa card, number 10. Vote. We'll take the popular vote. So vote which one you'd like to focus on for the example. And of course, you're more than welcome to choose any of the others when we get into practice. So you can vote for your own suggestion. What Domenico is doing, Domenico says number 4. Mukesh, 1 vote. 4, 5, 7. Okay, so let's see what we get for the popular vote. We've got 5, and well, if we take all of Mukesh's votes, we've got 7 as the popular votes. Chinese says 9. Not making it easy. Fuang, Romelia, what do you think? Sarah, which one would you like to focus on? Alexi, what do you think? Bottle of water, I think we have a video on that online. Okay. Number 5 is a smartwatch. Sure, why not? Let's do smartwatch. It looks like 5. Number 10, Romelia says, don't vote for number 10. No one needs retail therapy. Okay. All right. Well, Andrew, I think number 5 appears a little bit more than the others. So let's go with number 5. Okay. We'll go with the smartwatch. Sure. Why not? Okay. All right. Here we go. So smartwatch. What kind of a smartwatch? Well, let me do a little bit of a veto vote there. Let's go with the Garmin Sapphire 7X Solar. It's the one I have. I can definitely talk about it. If you have one like me, then it's definitely a good choice, because then you have even more information about it, so you know why you have it. Okay, all right. So bear with me here. Okay, so now we take some notes. Okay, so appearance. Okay, it's got 52 millimeter face. All right, it's black, silicone strap. Okay, it's about 40 grams, maybe. It's quite heavy. And titanium bezel. I'm gonna teach you some vocabulary here with watches. Bezel, I think bezel, like that maybe. I'm not sure of the spelling of bezel. It says basil, but it's not basil. It's a bezel. I think it's bezel, something like that. Bezel is the piece that goes around the watch on the outside. Maybe one of you can find that. Mukesh says it's 128 grams. Really, Mukesh? It's that heavy? Didn't notice. Okay, doesn't matter. Truth doesn't matter. The examiner will not weigh your watch. Okay, so as long as it's believable. Is it, Sarah? Is it basil? I'd have to Google that. I've never spelt that word before. I don't write about watches that often. But if you Google it, and it's because basil is also spelled B-A-S-I-L, but maybe I could be wrong. It's maybe a same spelling, different pronunciation. Okay. So that's the appearance. Okay, now in the IELTS, don't write appearance, just write the letter A so that you know you've discussed the appearance. Sarah says bezel with a Z, B-E-Z-E-L. Yeah, I think that's probably right. Bezel. Just searched it. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate that. The bezel. Okay. And of course, it's got a digital face, right? It's basically a little computer. All right. So that's the appearance. Origin. I got it about 6 months ago. So origin, you want to do an O. Okay. So when and where, right? 6 months ago, under the Christmas tree. Which is probably not 6 months ago, so do pay attention here to details. It was 3 months ago. Okay, in December. All right. Thanks, Sarah, for the elbow bump. All right, so 3 months ago, under the Christmas tree, basically from my wife, who I know got it from a store called MEC, Mountain Equipment Co. Okay, and then it's use. Okay, so how do you use it? Well, there are 5 buttons to navigate. Okay, it's got a touch screen, and I wear it on my left wrist, day and night. Okay. Now, again, you only have about 30 seconds to take your notes. So what you want to do is take useful notes that help you to give more content. Okay. Domenico says, I got it from my parents. Okay, what's its utility? So what do you think people use these smartwatches for? Maybe you can guess what I use mine for. If you pay attention to some of my hobbies and what I do, some of you might be like, oh, this is probably why Adrian's got this watch. So it's utility, it's function for me. And again, just write F for function. Andrew says, running and yoga. Absolutely, Andrew. So it's to track my fitness and in a big way, my runs. Yes. Okay, I do quite a bit of running. So running progress. To keep track of time too, absolutely. As you can tell, you know, I'm teaching these live classes, and so it helps to organize my day and track time. Okay, and there's actually another reason, like this watch is actually a little bit of an overkill in the world of smartwatches. But there's a very interesting function that this watch is superior with. And notice the name of it. So runs tracking time, but there's another reason. Some of you might discover something about me here in a moment. So this is a Garmin 7X Solar. Solar means it can use the sun to power the batteries. Okay. Yes, it can charge solar, Andrew. And Garmin is famous specifically for one feature. Anybody, if you're familiar with Garmin, you'll know. This sounds like a Garmin ad. They did not sponsor this live class. So Garmin's famous for its GPS. Okay. So I like outdoor activities. I hunt once a year, at least during hunting season, and the Garmin watch has a very powerful GPS system. So that is extremely useful for me for the hobbies that I do, specifically hunting and being out in the wilderness, making sure that I don't get lost, or if I do, then I can be found. So my wife knew what to get me for Christmas. She can make sure that I always come back home. Right? All right. So that also will translate to the last part here, which is, of course, the utility or the value for me. So we can just go V for value, right? It shows that my family cares about me. And it keeps me safe and confident. Okay. All right. So there we go. Now, those are the notes that I have, and it's definitely enough for me to talk for 90 seconds to 2 minutes. Don't forget the questions too. So it's not a bad idea, especially if you're quick, to make sure that you cover all the questions. And the last question, I will actually put this as an L here, last question, is if I leave it at home, right? Then how does it feel? So for me, it could actually be unsafe to leave at home, or to lose fitness data. Okay, all right, good. Okay, now, before, and this is so important, and I learn this as an IELTS trainer all the time, how important this is, because people forget about this all the time, and they don't do it, and it's a big problem. There's one more step here. So before your 1 minute preparation time is up, you must do what? Yes, Chani, absolutely. Conditionals in that last part. Yep. The first sentence incoming. Yes, Andrew. You must think of your first sentence, and this must directly answer the card question, the card topic. Okay, very important. All right. Okay, so here it says, talk about an item you often have with you when you leave home. So what would be a good sentence to answer that? Okay, so talk about the smartwatch. You can try a different one if you want to do, not a smartwatch, you're not familiar with smartwatches as much. It's okay if you do a different topic. So what would be a good first sentence to prime yourself? Okay, so you're prepping yourself for the examiner. When the examiner says your 1 minute preparation time is up, please begin speaking. It's like you just got shot out of a cannon. You just have to start with this direct, clear sentence. Alexi says, well, when I'm outside of my apartment, definitely I always take my wireless headphones made by Samsung. Okay. Yeah, and Alexi, don't even say who it's made by. You can save that for the next sentence. Just really start quick and clear. So, well, when I'm outside of my apartment, definitely I always take my wireless headphones with me. Okay, just emphasize that, with me, instead of the made by Samsung, with me. Domenico says, the item I often have with me when I leave home is my brown leather wallet, which I got as a birthday present. So again, Domenico, same tip. Let me grab all of yours. I'm gonna do a bulk copy here. Boom, there we go. Look at that. Everybody's there. Let me just go through this. Oh, Alexia, I missed you. Not on purpose. Here, let's get you in there. There. All right, so let's take a look at everybody's response here, okay? Just real quick. So, and I can give you some tips on how I would do it, okay? Alexi says, well, when I'm outside of my apartment, definitely, I always take my wireless headphones. I would take this last part out, Alexi, and just say with me. Just really clearly tell the examiner that I have the idea and I'm going to get right into it, okay? I'm not just using a template. I'm not copying some popular phrases like, well, when I leave home, I have lots of items with me. But the one I'd like to talk about today, it's like, no, I don't want to imagine you like a camel carrying all of these items. I just want you to focus on one item, right? So it's good. Alexi, it's good. Keep it simple. Domenico, same. Keep it simple, right? Because if we don't, then we make mistakes, and we don't want to make mistakes at the beginning. So Domenico says, the item I often have with me when I leave home is my brown leather wallet. And I would just stop there, Domenico. So I would leave this sentence for after. I got it as a birthday present from my parents about 2 years ago. Like that, okay? That's how I would do it. Silviana says, one of the items that I always bring everywhere I go is definitely my lip balm. That's a good one too. Silviana, lip balm is a really good choice, especially if you live in a place that's got windy weather where your lips might get dry or cracked. Absolutely. Okay. And I like it, Silviana. It's just nice and simple and to the point. Okay. Romelia says, one of the valuables I always carry with me is my, not it's is my smartwatch with practical and emotional significance. Okay, all right, we'll take that. So you've got a little bit of a 2-point thesis there, right? Practical and emotional significance. Good. Okay. All right. Philo. So one object I leave home without is my smartwatch. Oh no, Philo, you would be in trouble here. Why? Why would Philo be in trouble here? Okay, this is a tricky one in communication, and you have to be very careful with this, students, because it can get you into a world of trouble. Makran says he said without instead of with. Yeah, and I think, Philo, what you were trying to do here is use a common English expression which requires a double negative. You have to be very, very careful with those double negatives, Philo. So if you use it, make sure you use it correctly. Yeah, Romelia says we need a second negative here. So Philo, here you would be like saying the opposite of what you should be saying, and that's a bad situation. That can hurt your mark, okay? So one object I cannot leave home without, Philo. Okay, like that. That cannot is extremely important. It literally reverses the intended meaning to be correct, all right? So students, double negatives, be careful. I don't recommend using them. I don't. So I recommend avoiding double negatives in IELTS. Okay. But if you must, make sure you use it correctly. Okay. Okay. It is an expression. You do commonly hear this phrase like, and I cannot leave home without it. Okay, so you do hear that often. So Philo, your thinking is correct. Just be very careful to make sure that it's accurate. Okay, that is a common expression. Just be careful. Okay, double negatives can be extremely dangerous for coherence. All right. Okay, Yanni, the most crucial item before I leave home is a bottle of water. Okay, let's be careful with those articles. Okay, Philo says, all right. Ahmad says the most valuable thing. Don't use the word thing, Ahmad. Okay, so no thing. Okay, Ahmad, no thing. Forget the word thing in IELTS, all right? I'm super happy to see you're commenting, though. Okay, so the most valuable, instead of thing, students, what word could Ahmad use here? Okay, let's look at the whole sentence and let's give Ahmad some suggestions on words that are better than the word thing. It's a game we could play. The game is called Let's Think of Words Better Than Thing. So the most valuable I usually take with me everywhere I go is my identity card of my died brother, not died brother. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. We'll find the better word for that. Okay. All right. Yes, a Bogdan document. Yes, is good. Document. Okay. Or you could have item or object. Yes. Or in this case, I would say possession, or even, there's even better words, students. When you have an item that reminds you of a place or a person, what is that called? Anybody? Just check your vocab. So we're working, in all those different domains of your IELTS score, and here it's lexical resource. Andrew says memorabilia. Memorabilia is okay. I probably would not call that memorabilia, especially in this. Memento, Sylviana, is good. Yeah. Memento is good. Yeah. Memento. Sorry. Memento. Yes. Memento is good. Or you could say keepsake. Okay. So the better your word choice, of course, the better band score you're going to get. So keepsake as well. Okay. So this is the word I would use here. This would be your best word choice. And yes, died brother is not the right way to say it. You could say deceased brother, but the most elegant way to express it is what Andrew and Makrand have mentioned there. My late brother. Yes, it's the way we express that in English. Okay, so Ahmad, the correct way to express this is the most valuable keepsake I usually take with me everywhere I go is the identity card of my late brother. And this is where we might mention the brother's name. Okay, so like Mohammed, for example. Okay, so we would introduce the name of that brother as well. Now, given that this is true, my condolences, Ahmed. This is the right way to express this thought in English, okay? So the most valuable document I usually take with me everywhere I go is the identity card of my late brother, Mohammed. All right? Okay, that's how it's done. Makrand says, one item which I always carry with me wherever I am leaving home is my Bluetooth headset. That works, Makrand, to the point. And notice, students, how there's lots of different ways to start this. It's just important that you start with a clear, correct answer to the topic question, right? Okay. All right. Ahmed says, no, actually, I don't have a brother. I'm just making it up. And it's okay to do that, Ahmed. It's okay to do that. Yeah, so you can make it up. If that's what you came up with and you think that this will be unique and you can talk about it for 2 minutes, that will work. IELTS examiners are cold machines in this sense that they probably won't give you any points for sympathy, but As long as you can speak fluently, that's fine. Okay. Okay. So we'll take Philo's response here, just because that one is on the topic that we've chosen. Okay. So again, just remember this super important tip, everybody, whether you're a member or you're just jumping in to watch for a few minutes. In speaking part 2, the cue card, before your 1 minute preparation time is up, you must think of your first sentence, and this must directly answer the cue card topic. So talk about an item that you often have with you when you leave home. Okay, Krishna, welcome to our group of members. Andrew says, what if I give a heart-wrenching story? It's not going to get you extra points, Andrew, but if you are able to convey emotions effectively in a powerful way, that is considered expert communication. So expert communicators are able to control the emotional charge of information. So in that sense, it can help you to get a higher band score. Okay, so for example, in Ahmed's case here, if he's able to, come up with vocabulary like this card holds a great deal of sentimental value for me, because it not only reminds me of my beloved brother whenever I see his picture, but it also brings back fond memories of when my brother and I used to travel and show our identity cards to customs officers in different countries. Okay, so something like that. All right, so if you're able to get into some kind of information like that, then yes, of course, that's going to help you to get a high band score. Okay, all right. So in my example, I'm talking about a smartwatch here, and I think I've copied out that bit. Okay, so there we go. So here we go. So one object I cannot leave home without is my smartwatch. In fact, this watch has not left my wrist since I got it last Christmas, about 3 months ago. All right, so here I'm talking about when I got it, and I'm also giving more information of how often I actually have this with me. It's always on my wrist, which in my case is not true. I do take it off sometimes, but that's fine, right? So again, no, Alexia, it has come off my wrist several times. It needs to go on the charger, right? The solar charging is not, it's not 100%, so I need to take it off to charge it. But that's fine. I don't need to talk about that. So, all right. I have wanted one of these watches for at least a few years now, but I've never been able to justify spending so much money. Okay, now here I'm throwing in this sentence in my response. I have wanted one of these watches for at least a few years now, but I've never been able to justify spending so much money because this Garmin 7X Solar costs about $1,000 USD. Okay. All right, before I get to that sentence, this sentence here, well, it's actually one big sentence. What's the grammar? What grammar am I using here? Okay, so what grammar am I using here? I have wanted one of these watches. What's the grammar of this part of the sentence? Alexi says present perfect, and Alexi, you're right. Okay, and notice how I repeat that for at least a few years now, but I've never been able to justify. So there it is again, right? Another present perfect. Now notice how here I use the full auxiliary verb have, so I have wanted, and here in this part I contract the auxiliary verb I've. Now this is purposeful, students, so I'm not just doing this by accident. Why am I putting a present perfect type of grammar into my second or third sentence in this case? And in my second sentence there's one as well. So why? So here's another question, right? And it's important. It's a piece of advice here. So notice that my first sentence is quite simple and answers the cue card topic question. But my second sentence is more complex and uses present perfect. Okay? Andrew says to highlight my experience. Yes, it is. And also, Andrew, it's simply because I know that the examiner is looking for that, okay? Examiners are looking for complex sentences using grammatical range. So you need to show your ability to use complex and compound sentences with grammatical range. They're literally looking for that. So they're checking off on their form like grammatical range accuracy, right? So you need to do that, okay? All right. Okay, so in the IELTS, if you don't know what to say, if you get stuck, always remember the questions. So what is it? When and where did you get it? What do you use it for? Why do you take it with you? How do you feel when you leave it at home? And then remember your notes, okay? So use those anytime you get stuck. So the appearance, what it looks like, the origin, the use, and the function and the value, right? So this is a black smartwatch with a black silicone strap and a titanium bezel. It is built for rugged activities and made to last. It has a 52 millimeter digital touchscreen, which is very useful for not only checking the time, but also for tracking sports and getting notifications like SMS messages. Okay, so don't overdo it. Don't get so lost. So of course, you know, if you're talking about a digital device like a tablet or even an e-reader, there's a lot of information about what these digital devices can do. What's important is that you control what you say. So once you've said, 15 seconds of its function, what it does, what it looks like, make sure you talk about its value as well. So don't forget those, okay? Romelia says you can also make contactless payments. Yeah, which makes life a little bit easier, right, Romelia? So you don't have to pull your wallet out from your pocket every time, okay? All right. Okay, so the reason I love this watch is because I am an avid sportsman. I go for at least 3 10K runs each week, and I love going for hikes and hunting. The watch has a powerful GPS system that can both track my activities and keep me safe by guiding me home anywhere in the world. Okay? All right. Yeah, Alexi, it can track my heart rate, my blood pressure, and a lot more, my sleep patterns. So it's very useful, yes. So it's my vital signs, right? It keeps a detailed log of my vital signs, such as sleep patterns, heart rate, and blood pressure. In this way, I know whether I am keeping healthy or not. I treasure my watch because it was a gift from my wife, and it reminds me of her love and care. Okay. Now, I'm doing a good job, and I'm basically answering all of the questions on the card. If you're catching some new words or terms, make sure to write those down. Am I done? So am I finished at this point? Should I start like staring at the examiner? And wait for the examiner to be like, okay. Alexi says, no, conclusion. You want to have a conclusion. Finish off what you're saying. Okay, how? Give me some advice. What should I do here? So how do I conclude? What do I do? Okay. What should I say for the examiner to know that I'm done and avoid that awkward pausing and staring competition? Okay. Macron says, use words like lastly. Alexi just says, say it. So in conclusion, probably my favorite and most beloved item that I always take with me is my... Yeah, exactly. So kind of paraphrase that first sentence, right? Definitely. Now and going forward, I will surely have my smartwatch with me anytime I leave home. And then, being very clever, the very, very clever people that we are, in fact, I'm quite nervous at the moment that I had to take it off for this interview and leave it in another room. Right? If you've got $1,000 smartwatch, maybe don't take it with you to your IELTS speaking exam. Would be a side tip there, or a footnote to this discussion, right? Because they will ask you to take it off, and you know your belongings are safe and secure in the British Council Centre, but yeah, probably don't take $1,000 cash with you, or don't take $1,000 smartwatch with you, right? Macron says, haha, of course. So yeah, you wouldn't have your smartwatch with you there. Okay, students, thinking, right? Always thinking. Okay, here we go. So this is my response. I'm going to go through it in a nice, natural, conversational fashion. Follow with me, repeat, copy after me, and then we'll practice, okay, with whatever topic you have chosen for this cue card. Here we go, okay? So one more time. Talk about an item you often have with you when you leave home. You should say, what is it? When and where did you get it? What do you use it for? Why do you take it with you? And how do you feel when you leave it at home? Okay, your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking. So, one object I cannot leave home without is my smartwatch. In fact, this watch has not left my wrist since I got it last Christmas about 3 months ago. I have wanted one of these watches for at least a few years now, but I've never been able to justify spending so much money because this Garmin 7X Solar is about $1,000 US. This is a black smartwatch with a black silicone strap, titanium bezel. It's built for rugged activities and made to last. It has a 52mm large digital touchscreen, which is very useful for not only checking the time, but for tracking sports, getting notifications like text messages. The reason I love this watch is because I'm an avid sportsman. I go for at least 3 10K runs each week, and I love going for hikes and hunting. The watch has a powerful GPS system that can both track my activities and keep me safe by guiding me home anywhere in the world. It keeps a detailed log of my vital signs such as sleep patterns, heart rate, blood pressure. In this way, I know whether I'm keeping healthy or not. I treasure my watch because it was a gift from my wife, and it reminds me of her love and care. Definitely now and going forward, I will surely have my smartwatch with me anytime I leave home. In fact, I'm quite nervous at the moment because I had to take it off before this interview and leave it in another room. Okay, your time is up. Please put your note paper to the side with your pen pencil, turn it over, and we will now continue with part 3. For this part, I will ask you some questions connected to your response and related to the topic of part 2. Students, members, we're going to practice. By the way, viewers, you can find a lot of videos on our website detailing examples for talking about objects and other cue card topics. There's the URL for everybody watching in the chat, and for many of our members, you know this. So I'm going to get some of our members to volunteer for speaking, maybe some premium members on our course as well. So it's time to head over to the website and log into your My Student account. Once there, click on Student Partner Speaking. Check your microphone, check your browser, check to make sure you have your VPN turned on if you're using a VPN. And then you will see me as master. Send me a message just like this, I want to volunteer. And then we'll go from there. Sarah has put the instructions into the chat, so just follow her instructions and you will be good. This is aehelp.com here, our academic IELTS website. For general IELTS, it's gieltshelp.com. The chat interface in both websites connect. Okay, so it doesn't matter which one you log into. And then you will click on this big red button here to join the premium version of our course if you don't have access to that. Many of you do. And then you can click on your My Student account, and there it is already, but I'll highlight it again. So you've got, your computer-based practice tests, lesson videos, and so on. And then here you've got your Student Partner Speaking. Okay, just right up there. So click on that. Silviana, yeah, absolutely. Give it a shot. I know Silviana has booked full speaking interview with me later today. If you want to do that, students, then click on that yellow button, the speaking interview practice. That's a paid service, and I believe, Silviana, we will be doing that in a little bit later. It's going to be, I think, tomorrow for you, but it'll still be the same day for me. It'll just be in the evening. So, okay, right now, click on the blue, student partner speaking. Okay. And then once you're in here, you will see you won't see yourself, but you'll see your fellow students. And then you can practice with them. And Alexi, let's try. I think, Alexi, you and I, we've been having some issues in the past. But Yanni, why is the web freezing? I'm not sure. You have to check it on your end. On my end, it's good. Okay, so you have to check your connection. You have to see what's going on, all right? Okay, on my end, it seems all good. So, Alexi, give it a shot. Hopefully it works for you today, okay? Are you ready? All right.
Hello?
Hi, Alexi.
Hello?
I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you too.
Awesome. I'm glad we were able to make the connection. Did you change something about your setup from before?
Oh, no. Just that there was like some problems with the site. I suppose so.
Okay. I wonder what could I don't think our text did anything, so I wonder why that was. But anyway, the internet is still a place of mystery at times. All right, Alexi. So let's do this. Let's practice this part 2 cue card. I'm going to start you off. Now, you can go with a smartwatch and just kind of practice what we're working on, or if you want, you can choose a different object to discuss. It's completely up to you. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, then here we go. So, talk about an item you often have with you when you leave home. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
Well, when I'm outside of my apartment, definitely I always take my wireless headphones with me. They are black tiny devices made by Samsung. They have ear-shaped form to increase my satisfaction during listening to music. I also take it with the case to charge them up in case of unexpected discharges. However, it has a long-term accumulator that can keep charged for almost 12 hours. My mother presented to me when I turned 15. I was so happy about that practical present. Mostly I use it to listen to audiobooks in English and energetic music in case I'm jogging. This kind of activity helps me to be energetic during walks and doing sports exercises outside. So if I forgot it at home, I would be extremely upset about it. So in conclusion, probably my favorite and the most beloved items that I always take with me are my headsets.
Okay, your time is up. I will stop you there, and we will now continue with part 3. Alexa, that was really good. Okay, you're knocking it out of the park. You're paying attention to the instructions, and you're following the instructions carefully, and you're coming up with an excellent little mini story. I'm sure everybody felt that. So, it had a beginning, it had a middle, it had an end. You answered the questions. Very nice. Okay, very nice. That's how you do it. That's at least very good communication. So you're up in that band 7.5 range comfortably, maybe even a band 8. So if we take that just as is, it's a 7.5 to an 8. So you had some really nice grammar. You had some really good information. So good coherence, good fluency. You did not stop. You were able to speak continuously. Alexi, let me ask you, did you take some notes? So do you have some notes in front of you right now?
For sure, yes.
Yeah, okay, great. And did you use your notes while you were speaking?
Oh, yes, I did.
Okay, so you looked at them and you were like, okay, I'm saying that, right? And then you kept
Yeah,
talking.
yeah.
Very good. That's what you should do. So a lot of people, what they do is when they sit the IELTS, they take notes, and then it's like they magically disappear when they have to talk, and it's they don't use them. But I could tell that you were referencing your notes, and that helped you to keep your fluency going as well. So that was very good. All right, so a couple of small mistakes here and there, but overall very good. So here you said that they have some kind of a shape. What word did you use for the shape? Do you remember?
Ear shaped,
They have an ear
like
shape.
form of ear. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, it's a bit weird. That's why I couldn't quite catch it. Like if they're shaped like an ear, then or ear shaped, then that means that the earbuds themselves have the shape of your ear. So it's like you're putting your ears on your ears. So that's not quite the right word. And I wouldn't use the word shape. I would use design here. There's a very good collocation that we use with technology and with furniture. When you have, when your keyboard, for example, or your mouse is designed in such a way that it doesn't hurt your hands when you're typing or when you're gaming. Do you know the word that we use for that? It starts with an E.
Oh,
Starts with the sound
maybe I know it. How I can't recall it.
Here,
Sorry.
let me help you. It's ERG are the first three letters. Erg.
Ergonomic.
That's it. So it's there, right? You have it in your head. So when you realize that, okay, Alexa, in the future, as you're studying, right, you want to record your part two. It's very important. The IELTS examiner is recording every single interview. The reason they do that is because sometimes they have to listen again to the interview to make sure that they give an accurate score. And if they can't, then they ask another person to listen and give a score. So you want to use the same concept at home when you're practicing your English and when you're practicing professional communication. This is a strategy that's also used by public speakers. So for people who present speeches to the public, lawyers, for example, they will record their communication and listen back. It's really good because then you'll catch this. You'll be like, okay, ear shaped, this kind of weird. There's got to be a better way. And then you'll go, okay, ergonomic design. So they have an ergonomic design. Okay. And then you said something like to make it easier to listen to music, and that was kind of
Yeah.
weird as well. What would be a better way to finish that sentence? So they have an ergonomic design to make them what?
During wearing, maybe.
To make them more comfortable to wear, right?
Yeah.
Especially for long periods of time, right?
Okay.
Okay, so this sentence, when you said this sentence, so this sentence on its own, like if I'm really nitpicking and I'm breaking it down sentence by sentence, this sentence on its own would be like a level 6, but because the rest of your structure and information was so good, you get at least a 7.5 for all of it. But you do want to analyze each sentence specifically and think, how can I make that better? So this sentence, to make it a band 9, should read like this. I'm going to say the sentence again and then just repeat after me, okay? So they have an ergonomic design to make them more comfortable to wear, especially for long periods of time, like more than an hour or two.
They have an ergonomic design to make them more comfortable to wear, especially for long periods of time, like more than an hour or two.
Yeah, and we can all almost feel that feeling because I think a lot of us are familiar with this, like where your ears actually start to hurt a little bit when you have those earbuds in for a long time. So this gives us a clear sense of what you're talking about, okay? So you're at that level now where you're moving from good English into the range of the very good and expert English. And to be effective, definitely record yourself. listen back when you have time, even write down or transcribe what you've said, and then check to see of like, how can I make that even better? What are some words that can be even better? Another place where you might do that, and you can do this for homework, is you said, my mother presented it to me, and then you use the word present again, but in a different context, and it was a little bit awkward. So if you listen at this time in the video, it's 1 hour 15 minutes roughly in today's lesson. If you listen to your response again, you'll catch a couple other places where you can use some better words, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Alexi, you're very, very welcome. And thank you for that different example answer for this part too. That was really great. We'll talk again soon, okay?
Thank you so much. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye, Alexi. All right, that was Alexi. Yes, Andrew says ergonomic to improve the experience. Yes, and comfort. We want to use specific words, right, to be comfortable. Okay, let's take somebody else. Philo. Did we have a chance to speak with Philo yesterday? I don't think we did. So let's see. Philo is one of our newer members. Let's reach out to Philo. Are you ready, Philo? If you're there, let me know. Thank you for the thumbs up for Alexi, everybody. That's great. Philo says, I'm locked and loaded. Okay. Comes from guns, right? The idiom. I'm locked and loaded. It means you are ready as can be. All right. Philo. Hi, Philo.
Hello, Adrian.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I am doing great. Also, Philo, I'm happy to have you on board. It's good to see you in the members chat classes, and I'm happy that we're able to connect. Philo, can you tell me where you are in the world right now?
So I'm in Turkey right now, near the capital city of Ankara.
Okay, and why are you taking the IELTS?
So I'm a doctor, and I want to work in UK, United Kingdom, as a doctor.
Okay.
So it's a requirement.
Yeah, and you have to get a nice high score for that. For doctors,
Yeah.
your band scores have to be up and around the 8 range. Philo, do you have an area of specialization, or are you more like a GP?
I'm more like a GP right now because we need to take some exams to specialize
Okay.
in some other areas.
I see. Are you planning to specialize?
Not right now. First, I want to just see the United Kingdom fields
Okay.
of these specialties. Yeah.
Okay, got you. Yeah, GP, by the way, for everybody who's watching, means a general practitioner. Those are usually the family doctors that have a good sense of a broad range of medical issues and topics. All right, Philo, well, I'm happy to have you here and happy to help you. Let's get into this speaking part 2 cue card. Are you ready?
Okay. Yes, sure.
All right, you're locked and loaded, right? Here we go.
Of course.
All right. So talk about an item you often have with you when you leave home. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
So the one item I cannot leave home without is my hand sanitizer. It's an vinegar-based organic solution in a pocket-sized spray bottle. I get it from a cosmetic store just at the end of an COVID pandemic era. I generally use it to clean my hands, but why it's special? Because before eating, it doesn't smell bad, and that's why I feel very bad when I leave home without it, because I cannot buy it comfortably with other stores because it's abundant.
Okay, your time is up. I will stop you there, and we will now continue with part 3. Okay. All right. So first of all, some positives. Your topic, your choice of topic is very good. So hand sanitizer is definitely a very clever object to talk about when responding to this answer. Another good point, you have very clear English. So first of all, your pronunciation is nice and clear. I can understand every word that you're saying. So for your pronunciation score, you're easily in that band 8 range. Your grammatical accuracy is very good as well. So your sentences are very, very accurate grammatically. They would be, again, accuracy would be like a band 8. Your grammatical range is a bit lower. So I didn't hear too many sentences that indicate complex compound grammar using past, present, conditional. Sorry, I should say past, present, perfect, and conditional. So if I would leave home without it, I couldn't, for example, enjoy my meals as much because most of the hand sanitizers that are commercially available have strong perfumes, which really bother my sense of smell. So that would be a much more complex sentence there, okay? Your fluency was okay. Your fluency is closer to a band 6, 7. So overall, your band score here would be about a 6.5, maybe 7. You need more content. Okay, so you need to have more information. If the examiner doesn't stop you, because I don't think you were speaking for a full 2 minutes here, you need to keep speaking. Okay. So you said the one item I cannot leave home without is my hand sanitizer. I appreciate how you're using the correct form of that feedback from earlier. You had some really nice English here. So you said it is a vinegar-based organic solution. That's definitely band 9 level vocabulary. So vocabulary is one of your strong suits as well. Spray bottle, also nice little bit of information. I'm not sure if you gave quantification here, but if you say something like 50 milliliter, then that's good. Like 50 milliliter spray bottle, it gives us a sense of the size. Small, 50 milliliter. Always remember those quantification, those numbers, right? Now, avoid question style speaking. This is an important tip for everybody, okay? So you said, why is it special? Don't use that type of speaking where you ask a question and then you answer the question like as if you're speaking to yourself. It's a little bit awkward and it's not considered an expert level of communication. So instead you need to use statements. So this is special because it's unique. There is only one place where I can buy it, and if I leave home without it, it's more or less irreplaceable. Can you try that sentence? So this is special because it is unique. There is only one place for me to buy this, and if I leave home without it, it's basically irreplaceable.
Okay. So why is it special? Because it's unique.
No, I'm going to stop you there.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to stop you there. No question mark.
Okay.
So this hand sanitizer is special because it is unique. If I leave home without it, I cannot find it in other stores and it's irreplaceable. Try it one more time.
Okay. This hand sanitizer is special because it's unique. I couldn't find it any other stores. It's irreversible.
Irreplaceable.
Irreplaceable.
Good. All right. So avoid those question markers in your speech. Now, also, use what you know. So you're talking about a hand sanitizer, and you revealed to us that you are a doctor, right? So I was I was extra happy to hear about the hand sanitizer. I'm like, great. Here's a very responsible and conscious doctor who makes sure that they're in case somebody is in a medical emergency, he is not only ready to help, but he is not going to contaminate or infect the patient, right? So you you should use that knowledge, right? And so, use what you know, use who you are in the IELTS, right? As long as it relates, it's absolutely great to do that. So you can say that, as a practicing medical professional, I know the importance of having clean hands, and that's why hand sanitizer is so important for me. There are a lot of pathogens these days that are creating a lot of problems in society, and as a doctor, I might be in a situation where I have to help somebody unexpectedly, and it's extremely important for me to have clean, sanitized hands, right? So you can use that information to add more detail to what you're saying, okay? All right.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So when you review this lesson, Philo, try this again and try to increase the speed of your speech and try to give some more details like this in your speech. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you again for joining our group, for attending the classes, and I hope to talk with you again in the next class and in future classes and help you reach your goal to practice medicine in the UK.
Thank you, Adriana. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, Philo. We're here for you. We'll talk again soon, okay?
Wow. Thank you.
Okay, bye for now. All right, let's give Philo a thumbs up there. Yeah, Philo says pocket sized. Yeah, that's very good. Pocket-sized. Pocket-sized. All right, students, we've run out of time. I spent a little bit long on the explanations here, but not to worry. I'm going to spend more time on the interactions in the next class, I promise you. So we've got speaking part 3 coming up in 30 minutes. And what I recommend, especially members who didn't get a chance to talk to me, like Fuang, Domenico, use the chat interface, talk to each other, practice your part 2s with each other. So don't go like, oh, okay, I'm out of here. No, stay here. Fuang, maybe message Domenico just as an example, or Chayani message Bogdan and say, hey, can we practice this part 2 with each other? Give each other some feedback, okay? So practice your part 2 because we've got part 3 coming up and that will connect to part 2. And I will be asking you if you practiced with anybody during this 30-minute break, okay? So don't run away. You've worked hard. I'm sure many of you have some good notes, some good ideas. So use the chat interface. Link up with another student, say, okay, you can go first, I'll go after you. Practice, use the cue card, give your response. Then when I'm back in 30 minutes, volunteer again and we'll do some part 3 questions. I promise you that I will focus the bulk of next class time on Q&A for speaking part 3 about important objects and possessions. Okay, everyone? So for all of you tuning in, this is one of the features of the website, the student partner speaking. You can access that. Sarah, if you're still here, you can maybe throw that in the chat again. So you can access that through aehelp.com or through IELTShelp.com. This is the website here. Okay. As you saw, there are lots of premium students. I'm sure they'll tell you that there's a lot of valuable content there. So you can click on that big red button to join the premium version of the course, okay? Absolutely worth it. It's a one-time payment, doesn't cost a lot, and we are world leaders when it comes to IELTS exam preparation. We're partners with British Council and IDP. Students, as I said, I'm back in half an hour with speaking part 3 that's connected to the speaking part 2 topic. Okay, so hang in there. Meanwhile, visit the websites and practice your part 2 response with each other. Okay, see you in a bit, everyone. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out from Victoria for now, but I'll be back soon. Goodbye.